Panasonic plasma TV, and the problem with it is the HDMI has no signal, but I tried the RGB connector and it seems to be working okay. So this is a Panasonic TC-P50X2. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is taking it apart and then checking the main board, seeing if there's any problem. I have a big table and I put a quilt down so that I can rest it on it. To disassemble it, there are some screws along the edges at each corner that you have to take off. This goes around the plug. There's two screws you have to remove. And then around the main soundboard, there's a couple screws. There's two silver screws right here. These little flat guys, they go in those little white arrows. Okay. And then there's these little plugs. They go into the mounting bracket there. You can there's 4 of them that you need to remove. And then after that, you can just lift up the case and it should be open. It's open. So these will be the ribbon cables that go actually to the rows and columns on the display. The sound board looks like they have wires that go here, so the video and sound go into the main board here. In here, it looks like this is our power circuit. You can see the big heat sinks, and this will also be some power there. You can see that will be maybe for a backlight, but it's kind of dusty, so you may want to blow the dust off the components there. So I'll do that, and we're going to be examining this board to see if there's could be a chip. We'll have to look. So after opening the TV, I researched to find a service manual online, and it's a 50-inch plasma HD TV. It's a TC-50PX24. So in here, it was helpful. It gives the schematic, and when I looked at the block diagram, first I was looking for the HDMI, so you can see you have the HDMI 1 and 2, and we also have video 1, video 2. These videos lines were working. I used a DVD player and it was playing okay. So I know that the problem was in the board, the A board. It's the digital signal processor. Right hand panel, and you have to disconnect these ribbon cables. There's the A21, A33, A34, and the 2 HDMI ports, they go to this chip here. Now I've seen the other TVs, they have a converter chip before it goes into the processor, but this processor actually processes your antenna, the RCA ports, and HDMI all in one. So there's some problem on that chip, and I think it's a BGA chip, so it's actually very hard to replace that. Here we go. So this will actually shows you all the traces, and you can see that this is your 2 surface mounted HDMI, and the traces go all to this chip here, and this chip is the IC8001, and you can see that it's a BGA where you would have to use a heat gun to remove this chip, and I actually researched and I couldn't even find that chip. So this is the IC8001, and that's just the code, and then you can use the table to look it up. They do have parts lists for the schematic and showing you the replacement part. Here's IC, and then this is the actual part code. And if you Google that anywhere, basically you can't find anything much about that. So this is the actual part of that board. That's the code that was on it, the TMPH0831, and then you have to figure out this code based on a resistor value. You can find that the part number is right there, and you want to find out the suffix code. So how do you find out the suffix code? On the side of this, to find the suffix code, you find the number of resistors. So if these were two soldered resistors here, you find the two dots, and this would be BA. If there was a resistor here, here, and here, you can see those dots right there. It would be AP. It became AQ. So then after taking this, you have to find that board somewhere on the internet, but it was very difficult to find that. First I went into eBay, and on this board it was the 42-inch. I went and researched a lot through here. I couldn't find anything on eBay suffix, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked on Taobao, which is a Chinese website. I spent 7 years in China, so they had lots of great components on. This is like Chinese eBay on Taobao. After putting that code, it said basically they don't have it. If you scroll, you can Google it. If I went into Google and I like to go to this button called shopping. Shopping didn't have it. Even if you take out the suffix code and just look at normal ones, it really doesn't have it at all. So it's a shop called Shop Jimmy for TV parts. If you put that in, you can search. You can see in Jimmy Shop, searching for the code, it says we couldn't find the product. Even if you take out the suffix, hit search. It didn't come. It came with the AJ, AE, AT, and all these are out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. You can see clearly. Couldn't find it. So basically, I had to, you know, it's not really worth repairing that chip. It's really hard to get that board too. So then I had an idea. Well, if you go on Amazon, you can just type in HDMI to RCA converter, and it'll just $20. So that's what I recommend. A repair would cost a lot. Just use this external box, and then you can use basically the back of these ports on your TV, and then this side will connect to your HDMI. Hope that this video was helpful to someone. If anyone knows how or where you can get that other board, let me know. Okay, bye. You can also check out more repairs at nuisanceelectronics.ca.